Hello, everyone, and welcome to Latte Love Livestreams. My name's Zach.
And I'm John.
And today, we're going to be going over how to froth milk.
I can't wait.
This is a huge one.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people go to cafes, they look at latte art, or they kind of compare themselves to the texture that they'll find in like a professional condition like a cafe. And they're like, oh man, I could never do that. It's so far away, or I don't have the right machine. Well, we are here to say that you can do that. You can achieve some latte art. You can achieve the perfect milk consistency on whatever machine that you have. And we'll kind of prove that today. We have a dual boiler, we have a heat exchanger, even have a single boiler over here in that new sage green over here. But it's less about the machine today, less about the steam wand, and more about your ability to actually do this.
And you can do this too. I'm excited about this because you can do this at home. You don't have to be a barista who's doing 150 drinks a day for 5 years and finally get a good pour. If you just understand a few simple concepts that actually, Zach, you're very good at teaching this. I only just know how to pour a thing or two. With Zach's techniques, you're going to be able to watch this video a couple of times and you'll have a lot of the technique down already. So I'm excited.
Yeah, the key thing about the proper technique too is that you can actually transfer these same techniques to any machine and it'll work across the board. Some people only know like some certain ways to only froth milk with their machine, and then maybe they go to a latte art competition. Not saying that you might, who knows, in your local community you might, but go to a heavy duty commercial machine and be like, oh, I can't do that, it's too strong. Well, if you take these simple techniques, any machine will do. It'll all do it. So in order to do so, there are a couple things that we have here, which we'll get into, but it is Black Friday, Cyber Monday right now. So if you have any questions about anything that we're going to be going over, feel free to drop that in the live chat. We'll be inside there and be able to take your comments.
Yeah, if you see us looking down, we're just looking at your comments. So feel free to ask questions or just drop a line like Persepolis did. Hey, good to see you again. So I'm excited. And Zach, do you want to go through a little bit of the actual machines and equipment that we're going to be working with here today?
I think today it's going to be more so about our frothing pitchers, which you can see I have quite a bit over here. And then also our cups. These are the first things that we're really starting with. So John, I think right in front of you, we have a couple different kinds. And one thing that we're really looking for when we're first starting to get into like milk frothing and being able to pour latte art is starting with the right conditions too. There could be some things here that are going to be hindering your experience to actually pour and achieve good latte art or good frothed milk. And a lot of that has to do with the vessel that you're pouring into. So as you can see on all of these, they're all kind of rounded in a way. So you have some very famous, not neutral cups over here. We also have some Varia sip cups as well. Rocket has their own circular sort of bottom. This is more of a traditional sort of ceramic that you'll find within latte art. It really helps with a lot of those pours. You're also looking for something that's pretty wide-mouthed. So that's a great thing to look for. A lot of people, just get some china also when you're first starting out. They don't last too long, but that very circular wide mouth is kind of nice when you're first starting out, so you can really expand that latte art because it's a lot of prediction.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. It's we call that creating your canvas right off the bat there. So, if you've got a wide mouth, then you've got plenty of room on the canvas to work with.
All right. So we already have our first question. So question, can I froth whole fat milk or these Fairlife milks that has a high protein content? Yes, you can. In fact, high protein doesn't necessarily mean that you can't. A lot of high fat can affect things. So basically when you have higher fat milk, let's say half and half, you'll know by hearing it, right?
Yeah, number one, you'll know by hearing it, yeah.
Yeah, so these are actually called fat globules that basically all the pressure from your steam is hitting. So it's hitting a lot of surface area. You could still break it up, and those fat globules actually break up into smaller compounds as you increase heat. But protein isn't that factor. Protein's something that will, when done correctly, rise into microfoam and also bond other things along with your surfactants, which is basically the glue that's kind of sticking all of these proteins, fats, and everything together to create a nice sheen texture. Now, in order to do so, you have to do all of this at the right time. So we actually have our first graph up. It's going to be the froth graph.
The froth graph. Oh, I remember this. Yes.
So we have a couple different things. If you tuned into our live streams before, we love this sort of graphic to show what you're doing as you're stretching, another word for frothing, your milk. So you want to first start with success by pouring your milk into a pitcher about a fingernail below the rim. So the bottom of that brim that you can see on either the inside or the outside is usually your indicator of how much milk your pitcher can really hold in general. So if you have a small pitcher, don't fill that up all the way. It can only hold a certain amount, and that's how we're kind of measuring. A lot of people will actually use a scale as well. So I do have a scale here, but we don't have to use that. That's more of the crazy technique.
Yeah, and no, real quick, just to clarify, when you say brim, is that where the spout begins to taper?
Exactly. So
gotcha.
As you can see on all of these pitchers right in front of me, if we come back here, they all kind of have the spout, and the spout starts tapering out.
Kind of halfway down, right?
Halfway down. So if we look at all of these spouts, this is kind of our indicator of where we're actually filling our milk to. And then if we go a fingernail below that, this is where I want to pour my milk to, just right below that. So we kind of use this as a measuring tool of like, okay, this pitcher likes this much milk, because all of our energy is going to be pushed towards the bottom of that. So we actually have specific pitchers, which we'll be going through shortly to show that. So let's bring the graphic right back up.
Nice.
All right, so we can see that we are using our hand as the thermometer, but you can use a thermometer as well if you want these very precise techniques to really be dialed in. So we're really listening during this time, which will show you how to stretch and listen in a second. But what we'll be doing is feeling until about 100 degrees, so at 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. So at that point, it's a little too hot to touch, and we're gonna be tapering off. We're really focusing on our whirlpool the whole entire time, but especially after, it's feeling pretty warm to the touch.
Yeah, now that's the point where it's about the same temperature as your hand. That's where you want to submerge the steam wand so that you're not adding any more air, and you mostly just want to focus on whipping those bubbles into small microfoam, right?
Correct. And the key point here is that we have that at such a specific degree on this graph, just because basically what's happening is that at that point, we can't actually utilize those surfactants in a way that it would be glue and create any more foam. We're just going to be piling in air that's not going to go anywhere, and it's not going to be grabbing onto anything. We're not creating any more glue. It's just pushing in air now, and you're going to have huge bubbles everywhere. So if you've ever had that, you're stretching a little bit too far if you have a bunch of bubbles that you have to then work out. So not a good time.
Now we're looking for the texture of like wet paint, right? You don't want to see a ton of big bubbles in there. You just want to see a nice sheen, right?
Yep, exactly. So we're looking for that nice sheen, different ways and tips and tricks that we'll show later as well. Now there's pitchers that can also help with this. If we want to go ahead and bring up our pitchers graphic, we also have a couple different examples of these pitchers before we get inside here. So the big belly here, this creates a really nice deep point. In comparison to some other regular sort of pitchers, this big belly really enables for that vortex to trap a lot of that energy. Because the big thing about creating good foam and everything is basically the penetration of this heat and pressure. As long as we are penetrating all of our milk, I see a comment from us down below.
That's
definitely say milk incorrectly.
That's definitely Nick. Oh no, never mind. It's Andrew.
It's Andrew behind it. So as long as we have good penetration of our milk and heat can absorb throughout a lot better, big belly pitchers like this rocket one are going to be super helpful for that when first starting out. So something like this, or even one designed for cappuccinos.
Like that BIT pitcher.
Exactly. So another key thing about this too is the size of them. So if you have a smaller boiler and you're not enough steam, and you're trying to create that vortex, it's really hard because you're traveling a lot further with such a large pitcher like this. You'll need a dual boiler to really
Oh
be able
yeah.
to steam one of these. So actually decreasing the size of your actual pitcher will really help with that penetration and that vortex, that movement. So basically, as soon as you infuse all that air, you then work it into position.
And that's what I've found too. You know, that sort of explains why some of my best pours come from when I'm using a smaller pitcher, right? Because my
Exactly.
the vortex can get even stronger, so I can really whip my air in.
So I'm going to go ahead and fill up a pitcher here. So again, about a fingernail below this brim here. And we're going to start off with a smaller pitcher because what we're seeing here guides us to do so, right? Now, before
Makes
getting
sense.
into what all these different pitchers are here for, specifically their spouts,
Yeah.
let's go ahead and start pulling a shot, making some lattes, and going over some tips and tricks on how to do so.
Sure. Which machine should I use?
Let's go ahead and use that Apartamento, the new one with white and copper.
Awesome.
You can spot it from a mile away. You can't miss it.
Yeah, I'm going to use this Chiato Rev steel grinder that we still have dialed in here as well.
Yeah, so John was just on the previous stream, so he has this nice and dialed in, but I will judge him if it somehow messes up because yeah, we're all professionals here.
I need a coach still.
So in order to see this a little bit better, we are using this Gaja GT up front because it's all going to be a game of angles right now. So again, this can happen on any machine that you can find. We're always pre-purging, and I usually like to keep my steam wand towel either above the machine or nearby because you don't want to be transferring cooties between everything else. Again, this is kind of touching your milk, the inside of your drink. This should only touch your steam wand. And then all of our machines here, especially if they're sitting for a little while or you just built up steam like on the Ranchillo over here, you always want to pre-purge a little bit because there's going to be a little water inside there as well. And water will definitely mess up a lot of your milk. Oh man, I did it again.
I had a feeling that as soon as Andrew brought it up, or I thought it was Nick, once you hear it, you can't unhear it.
Yep, this is true. And now is the time for playing with our quadrants. So what I mean by quadrants, well, I have a graph for that. We can bring up our quadrants graph. Perfect. So when we're first setting up our steam wand here, we're going to be resting our steam wand on the spout of our pitcher, and we're going to be aiming our nozzle kind of in that fourth quadrant there. So when we first raise up our pitcher, we're going to aim it towards the center there. And then we're actually going to tilt our pitcher until it's about at that nozzle placement. But there's one key difference here too. If you actually have a machine with more or less steam holes inside your steam wand, that's also going to guide where you want this nozzle placement. So as you can see here, this is a good position for something like a 3-hole, maybe a 2-hole. 4 holes, I would actually come towards the center of this quadrant, and 1 holes, I would actually go towards the outside. And again, this is all dependent on how we're penetrating our milk and where the pressure is actually directing, because on a 4-hole, it's already making its sort of vortex rotation of things. So we're just enhancing that. So let's go ahead and froth some milk.
Nice.
All right, so again, I'm going to pre-purge because I actually brought my pitcher up and in here. So we're going to play our game of quadrants. We're going to take this steam wand. I usually have this angled almost upright, maybe a little bit of an angle. A better way to learn is completely upright and then use your pitcher to then angle. Don't use your steam wand to do all these crazy angles. That's not going to be reproduced through. Yeah, that's the word. Reproduced
There you
through
go.
any machine possible. There you go. That's the word. And then we're just going to simply slide up using the actual wand and the tip itself. And as you can see here, I'm right in the center if we want to get that over top.
Hey,
Right in the center. And as soon as I'm in the center, I'm just tilting my pitcher. And now I'm in that 4th quadrant. And I'm currently halfway inside my milk right here, because then we want to slowly decrease or slowly bring down my actual pitcher until we find what we call the sweet spot. And we're going to be listening for this one. It's almost like tearing paper, right?
Yep. Yeah. Zach and I talk about barista ears a lot. We can tell if you know, if someone's not infusing enough air from a mile away. It happened just the other day. It was really funny.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we're going to stay at our safe spot, which is about halfway. Turn up our steam wand all the way, and then find our sweet spot.
I'll get my mic close. You can hear that tearing paper. There it is.
Now we don't need too much. This is just a latte. We only want a little bit. So now it's about warm. And what we're shooting for is about 120 to 140 degrees. So at that point, our milk is actually going to break down in a way that it's going to become sweeter. We don't want it too hot because it's actually going to become less stable. And then it also won't develop that far if it's too cold as well. We're not going to actually create that glue yet. Those surfactants haven't bonded, the protein hasn't rised, it hasn't done all of this science yet. So from there...
It hasn't done the science
hasn't
yet.
done the science. Okay, so from there, as you saw, I kind of pre-purged my wand and I'm ready to pour. I want to pour this right away, and you don't want to bang it on the counter too much because a lot of the foam will actually come to the top and it will kind of come out a little sprudgy.
Yeah,
I don't know that I probably made up that word, but I don't.
No,
It's
no,
a
it
thing.
sounds good to me.
And then you also want to swirl your espresso. So we're going to create that nice canvas, swirling my milk. So working my milk will still create that nice paint-like texture. We're kind of looking at the sides of this, how that's kind of like coating it like paint. And then from there, tilt your cup. So you create a nice deep end, and then we'll create a nice canvas. And then we'll touch and go in for a pour. Now you should be able to do this first time. But no, so this does take a very long time. I think when I first got on bar, being able to actually pour latte art took me months. I felt like I actually was going to get kicked off bar first before I could actually get it.
Well, you know, I started in 2010, I think, and I didn't get a good pour until, like a real pour, until I think I was a barista for like 3 years. And then I would train people after that, and they would get it in like 3 months. And I'd be like, man, I'm just a slow learner, I guess. So, you know, but we have Zach, so this should be much quicker. You know?
So we poured in just a regular sip cup. I think this is great for a lot of rosettas, a lot of simple stacks, a lot of things like that. But now we kind of want to pay attention to maybe the pitcher that we're also using. So that's going to correlate with what cup we want and what kind of art we're going to do. So something like a rosetta is going to be something that you can kind of do with any of these pitchers. But if we want to get an overhead for a lot of these pitchers that we have right here, they're pretty interesting in how they're all so differently shaped. And you might be asking, it's like, Zach, why would I need so many pitchers? Well, if you get really into latte art, you almost think of these like your paintbrushes. They're all going to do different kinds of tactics and art and kind of pour out in a different sort of way. And you can see that by, you know, see how round this one is and see how fine these are. If you tuned into any of our other live streams where I was pouring a lot of, you know, very technical latte art, and I was doing, what's the animal that I usually do?
Zach is known for doing a pretty killer seahorse.
Seahorse,
actually.
there you go.
Yeah.
Couldn't think of a seahorse. I don't know why. I can pour one.
You can pour one.
I know what it looks like.
I just can't name it.
Well, these fine lines are also going to dictate like how fine our lines are on our art.
So how pointy the spout is might dictate how fine the actual lines in your art are.
Exactly.
Okay.
So, we actually have a graph too about the foam volume and how this actually affects our pour as well. So when we're talking about the size of our pitcher like we did earlier, we can kind of conceptualize that as I'm pouring a lot of milk out of a small pitcher, I'm not really getting to my foam as fast as I would with a large pitcher. Does that make sense? How would you describe this, John?
You know, I think you hit the nail on the head. What I often run into is if I have too much milk, I'm not going to get to my art. My art's not going to show up until the end of the pour. And by that point, I might be close to the top of the cup. I might be out of space. So if you're using a larger pitcher, you're going to get to the art quicker and you'll have much more time to actually play around with the design. So, but this also reminds me, you do like to steam sometimes in a small pitcher and then pour it into a larger pitcher, right?
Yes, pitcher sharing. So if you do like to get into latte art, and maybe you invest in a couple different of these pitchers here, and you really favor maybe this one. Like I've taken this to latte art competitions because I really like getting used to one pitcher. But then, oh, I want to pour different art. Well, this is called pitcher transferring. Ready? Wow.
Wow.
Now I can pour right to my foam, and basically I can start getting to that white foam a lot faster. So if you are out there at home and you're just like, but like all the white foam doesn't come out towards the end, like until the end.
Yep.
I suggest then transferring over to a larger pitcher, and you might be able to get to that foam a lot faster. Now there's other ways to do that as well, and it all comes into technique.
All right.
Do you want to go through the technique with me?
Woo.
I'm surprising John all day with everything that I'm teaching today. I'm just reteaching John.
Yeah, I told him I was excited for this one because I need a refresher as well. Okay, right. What do you need me to do?
All right. So,
our technique, right?
We're working on our technique. So pick a glass.
Okay, let's see.
I'm giving you that pitcher.
This is now. I know that you like these bell-shaped pitchers, and I'm not good at them yet, so this is good for me. I'm gonna go with the. I think I'm actually gonna match them up. I'm gonna go with the Rocket cup, this Rocket mug.
Perfect.
Along with the Rocket pitcher.
I'm gonna go with this not neutral. This is like a Gibraltar style, so a lot of people will do kind of like cortados, cappuccinos.
Yeah.
We'll go through the basic differences. So what we're gonna do before we start latte art, we're gonna look at our body language. We can't be kind of poured over, hunched over, doing anything like that.
Good
we
posture.
Want a good view of what we're doing because it's all, again, a game of angles. So as we have our milk here, we want to take control of it. Now, a lot of people will just do a little pinch so you can actually kind of go back and forth a lot faster. Now, if you need to practice something like that, like you're getting into like all these rosettas and you're pinching your pitcher like this, we'll get a nice shot. Perfect. This is kind of like how you get a nice little rosetta here. It's all about kind of timing, and you can practice this with water as well. But it's literally just kind of a little hang and a pinch.
That's it. It's very.
You're going back and forth. Now,
very gentle.
This might be a little too crazy for people at first. And how I started was actually just by taking control of the entire pitcher and then just moving side to side.
Between your thumb and your index finger.
Exactly. So some people might start with that, but you can't just move on a different direction.
It has to be the entire pitcher.
So if we're moving with the entire pitcher, you'll have nice uniform lines going back and forth. If I start going like this, all of a sudden, it's going to throw out milk that way, throw out milk that way, and it's going to be really ununiform.
Yeah, so no swivel.
It's no swivel.
Yeah.
So pay attention to our axis. Not this, but this.
That.
There we go.
Yeah, nice.
So practice that with water. I think that is going to be one of your best bets. The other thing, your other arm. That's going to help you. So we always want to create a deep end with espresso. So you do so by kind of bringing your espresso all the way out towards the lip of your cup. The more you can bring it out to the lip of your cup, the more you can kind of start that pour in the center. Now, you don't need too much milk to create a canvas. Did you know that, John?
I did not, actually.
Yeah. So you only need a little bit of milk. You don't need too much. So you'll basically create a little canvas. Then when you're ready to pour, the proximity of your spout is king. So the distance of your pitcher, which we have a graph for the distance of our pitcher. I believe. Yep, there we go.
Yeah,
so,
nice.
This again is favorable towards a larger pitcher. We can kind of get to that foam a lot faster. As you can see with that smaller pitcher, it's a lot harder. But the faster that we can actually bring the spout to the surface of our espresso is when we can start drawing. The closer that we are, the more we can actually start laying that foam on top.
And this graphic does a nice job showing just how much closer you can get to the canvas with a larger pitcher. There's a much more significant distance between the spout of the pitcher and the espresso in the smaller pitcher than there is in the larger pitcher. That's going to matter when it comes to when the actual white foam, or the art, as I like to call it, actually comes out.
Yeah, and then the rate of your pour will also matter. I usually like to say it's kind of like you're pouring to the size of like a pencil. is kind of like the thickness that you want to do, but that'll also depend on the actual pitcher that you're using as well. But really pay attention to a nice rate of flow as well. If you're pouring too slow, you're just going to be creating no pile up, or you're just, building up foam, but it's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
You need a little bit of flow so it breaks through the surface, right?
This is definitely speaking to my inner nerd with the pictographs and charts. Hey,
Love it.
That's what we want.
All right, so distance is going to be king with that. So nice control on your left hand, and then we're trying to get our spout as close as possible, as fast as possible for the best art, depending on what you're trying to do. And then we're also leveling out our cup at the same time.
So there's a lot going on all at the same time.
This would not work.
That would not work, no.
Right? So we're watching that distance between our espresso, our canvas, touching the lip, and then we're touching the lip most of the time until we finish and draw through. Cool. Which might have to be a whole different sort of live stream, because today we're just sticking with the basics.
Techniques. Basics.
Yeah, these are basics, right?
These are basics. I mean, we're not, I can't do a seahorse yet. Let's put it that way.
All right. So we're going to test you next.
Let's go. What do you need?
And I think what we're going to do is also show another technique where frothing your milk and frothing your milk and pulling your shot at the same time is also going to give you the best canvas possible. You really want that fresh crema up on top. You don't want it too thick though, so you do kind of want to distill it, but doing things at the same time will be best, which is why we typically recommend a heat exchanger or a dual boiler, but that doesn't mean anything. You can still pull a shot, and something like the Rancilio behind us will warm up fast enough to steam milk, and it's adequate. Yeah. There's no issue whatsoever. I can still do a seahorse. I remembered this time.
I've done it many a time on a single boiler. So, if that's what you're working with at home, don't worry.
All right.
Okay.
Your milk?
So, my milk. All right. So, I am pouring this into my bell-shaped rocket pitcher.
Yeah. So, we're trapping a lot of that energy at the bottom. It's creating a really nice vortex. And it's also just enabling a better vortex in general too, just the way that is shaped. So if you are starting out, sometimes these shapes do make a huge difference.
Now, the volume that I poured in, what do you think? A little more, a little less?
It's been a while, huh?
I don't like these bell-shaped pitchers, but you're going to convert me.
Two more grams.
Right.
All right. So we've chosen our pitcher. We've chosen our cup. These look like they would go together just fine. And maybe we'll pour out of that. Maybe we'll choose a different pitcher. But right now, I think you're set up for success. Let me go ahead and grab your shot as well. We'll turn the tides here.
A little role reversal sounds good.
All right.
Yeah.
And then on our nice rev, we don't even have to think about it. We could just... I'm not even concerned.
I'm not concerned either.
It's going to go to the right weight.
18 grams?
18 grams.
Good to go.
Nice fluffy grounds. And there is a particular coffee, right, that you want to kind of choose for latte art?
Yeah, we do want coffee that is going to give you crema. You don't want too much crema, and the reason being very, very difficult to cut through such a thick crema with your art. So if it's super thick, you just can't cut through, and you're going to end up with latte art that doesn't really spread out through the whole cup. It's kind of going to get trapped with so much crema in there. Now what that means is typically Arabica coffee, not too much Robusta, because Robusta is known for having a lot of crema. And now how about the acidity of your coffee as well, as far as milk staying stable? Yeah, so if you tend to put a lot of stuff inside your drinks, something that is going to be a little bit more fruity or acidic as well, naturally will kind of throw off. It'll kind of coagulate as you pour. But then a lot of this more acidic coffees as well won't produce as clean of latte art. So a lot of latte artists really go for super dark and more porous coffees. Yeah. That produce a lot more fines and a good thick canvas. Yeah. So high extraction yields, but I also see a lot of short shots being pulled for latte art. Is that right? Yeah, short shots, because again,
if we can create a nice short little canvas, we can start our art a lot faster. And it's a movement of predicting. You know, we're really stacking milk on top of each other until it creates this art. We're not drawing this whole entire design out. Well, I mean, seahorse. But most of these things like this, it's a stack of a little thing that's built into a little thing, that's built into a little thing, and then all of that expands into your full cup.
Cool. Well, let's see what I got in that case.
All right.
So
You're ready.
I'm ready.
Yeah,
now,
you can just pull.
do you want me steaming on
you
here
should
as
probably
well?
purge. Yeah, go ahead and
Okay.
Yeah, steam on here.
Okay.
Let's see if we can get a good angle. If we can't, then we'll push you on to the GT.
All right. Here we go. My timer is set.
All right, and it looks like we can get a good angle, so you'll see that shortly. And he's still following the steam mouth here. He's ripping some paper right now. There is a vortex going on. I'll stop your shot because I'm nice to you.
Oh, thanks, Zach.
All right.
What a guy.
And I'm stopping this actually a little bit shorter too, so I can actually give you plenty of room. But this is a good canvas for what we're looking for. So you can see it's kind of keeping up its texture, but it's also smooth along the sides, much like your milk. You're looking for the same exact thing. It's holding its dexterity on that foam. So that's what we're kind of looking for. And then next shot, I think we'll go ahead and have you pour somewhere around here.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and switch spots.
Sounds good to me.
I'll narrate.
Now, Zach.
I'm good at talking. If anyone can't tell down there, you tell me if it's too much in the comments.
I'm just no, don't. No, Zach, am I looking with? How am I looking with my milk volume? Is this
so
quite
that
a bit?
looks like a lot.
It's
so
looking like a lot to me too.
Something that a lot of latte artists will do is now kind of pour it into a different cup, just so you have enough. And you
mean like that?
Exactly.
Like just get rid of
just
a little bit?
get rid of. So you have to keep in mind that also gets rid of a little foam. So really having the right amount of milk to start with is going to be key. But now, you also foamed up a lot because I don't think you're used to these. So it really gains good texture. All right.
Yeah, no kidding. Now
let's get to the pour. It's taking too long.
And I have been.
It's gonna die.
I've been trying to keep my crema alive. Yep. Yeah. And the milk too. Yep.
There we go.
All right.
So creating his canvas, then he's coming in close to do a little pour. So these are called stacks. As you can see, it was kind of predicting what the next thing is going to do. So he created a base, and then he poured into that base, and he poured into that base. But it was every single time he just brought his spout closer and closer and closer into the same spot until it kind of stacks up.
Not too bad. You know what? I wish that my pour ended up with more of the actual white art closer to the edge, like more use of the cup.
Now you're getting really advanced because in order to get more use of the cup, you would actually had to have started your pour a lot sooner. So that's when a bigger pitcher kind of comes at hand. If you are kind of getting really small art, that means you're actually creating too much of a canvas and you actually want to start that pour a lot faster.
Yeah, and I think my milk volume might have had something to do with that. Can we get that overhead shot again? I want to show something real quick. This is how much milk I have left.
So there's a lot left. Maybe this pitcher wasn't the best pitcher for that cup. We could have actually done a smaller pitcher or transferred over to a bigger pitcher.
I think that, if I just
did better.
It just did better. Maybe used less milk or didn't aerate quite as much. It could have been okay.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So we can actually go into the definition of a cappuccino too.
Sure.
After we take this comment, after this commercial break. Okay, so can I do latte art if the temperature of my espresso is room temperature or even cooler? Or does it have to be hot and freshly brewed?
Good question.
So in previous streams, you might have actually seen me pour into old latte art or old espresso and be totally fine. And it all has to do with how you create your canvas. If you get really good at creating a nice even canvas and kind of doing that high pour where it blends into all of your espresso well, you can then pour into that. But this, first off, depends on the espresso and its extraction. And then secondly, it depends on your skill if you can do so, right?
In other words, it's possible. It just gets harder.
Yeah, it is definitely hard. I don't suggest it, but it is harder. And you have ways that you'll actually get blotching. I call it blotching.
Sure.
Where it's actually going to layer on top like that hot liquid is really going to want to sit on top of the cold.
Okay,
and then it blotches out, and the corners of everything will kind of be a weird texture. But and your foam will also change as well because you're immediately dropping temperature.
There's a lot of caveats for that. So
yeah,
that's
I
really
could actually
interesting.
keep going right now. Actually, I don't suggest it.
Now that I think about it further, yeah.
And then meh said pretty. Well, thank you.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah, thank you. You know, I made somebody happy. There you go.
Perfect. So, the definition of a cappuccino. We have a graph for this. John, if you want to define a cappuccino.
Oh, you're asking the wrong guy because I have two answers. Ready?
Oh, no.
I call it the old school cappuccino and the new school cappuccino.
That is actually true because we have a cup defining this right now.
Yes. Yeah. Now
that we're going to be pouring into. But in traditional aspects of things, we're talking about ratios and thirds. So if it's a cappuccino, we have to pick a 6-ounce cup technically to achieve the rule of thirds. You're going to have a third foam, a third steamed milk, and a third espresso. Yep. And this all depends on how you're pouring your actual milk as well.
Yeah.
So there's ways that you can stack this up, do different latte art, and different things. But when you have a lot of foam, it is a little bit more difficult to do latte art, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's a lot of foam. Right? Yeah, yeah. A lot of foam is very difficult to move around like a liquid and make it do what you want. In fact, I was able to see quite a bit of bigger bubbles in my foam that I didn't want to see, so that affected things as well.
Yeah, and then if we're trying to achieve a latte, that's just going to be a little foam. And we can also go in larger volumes, typically an 8 to 16 ounce. You can see those, but you can do smaller lattes, but it starts turning into what we would call a cortado. Then.
Right,
yeah.
Exactly.
So
and that more has to do with ratios.
Exactly. Yep. So it is a game of ratios is how we would define this. But we also have a cup that we'll also pour into and a pitcher to help you with cappuccinos. As I see in the comments down below, can I use the same techniques and time of steaming if I'm using different milks? Mine is whole milk. Hubby's is oat milk. You treat these differently, right?
Yep, you bet. Oat milk, I would steam a little less hot, and I would infuse air way quicker and then just ride it out. Is that how you would approach?
Exactly. So oat milk is less stable. It's a little more volatile. So you want to keep those temperatures down low or lower for it to be stable. So if we're
125, 130.
Exactly. So if we're talking about like milk stability, whole milk is going to be one of your most stable milks, along with skim milk. Technically, it's going to be very, very stable, but your foam is different, which we don't have to go into that on how tightly packed those bubbles are.
That'll be a whole other live stream.
But it really matters when it comes to oat milk. So it's going to be less stable. It's going to break apart at those higher temperatures. So you want to keep them down low so your milk's not escaping. One quick trick too behind oat milk sometimes is adding a little bit of cold water to your oat milk before steaming can actually also help with that texture as well. And then also just keeping it as cold as possible. So if you're pulling your oat milk straight off the shelf, which a lot of them are shelf stable until you have to put it in the fridge after you open it. But that first time might be worse than your next time because you're starting at a lower temperature. You have more time to build up foam, and then you can also stop sooner.
Yeah, if you're starting at a lower temperature, you've got more time to infuse air before you hit your max temperature. But if you're starting at room temperature, for example, you've only got that much time because you started at a higher temperature. So, and for that reason, by the way, a lot of people will actually keep their pitchers in the refrigerator. Some people even put it in the freezer just because there's going to be more mass to heat up. So you're going to be steaming for a longer amount of time.
I feel like testing myself right now too and using maybe some oat milk to make a cappuccino to really show how crazy we can be. And luckily, so Barista Improving Taste actually makes these really cool cups that actually shows your contemporary cappuccino and your traditional cappuccino. So that TC, it's really hard to see these different marks.
There's those influencer hands. There you go.
Influencer hand. Not working influencer hand.
There we go. Hey,
there we go.
Now we're talking.
So there are different lines to actually show, okay, so these are more modern cappuccinos. And traditional cappuccinos. And these are also showing that you want one shot. This is how much milk you want. And then your traditional. So this is really showing your rule of thirds. So we actually see a lot of these within used as training tools within cafes,
Yep.
just to ensure that you're going to get the right amount of foam. And it's also actually a nice cup. Now, they also make a pitcher that, again, utilizes that belly. So we're going to trap a lot of that energy, and we're going to see what it does with oat milk. Now, I'm assuming this will work.
I'm assuming it'll work too. Have you ever used
No.
No?
No.
This
Nope.
is...
Oh, wait, no,
pitcher
no, I've tried this pitcher before.
with
Amazing
oat milk,
pitchers.
though.
Yeah, great pitcher.
Yeah.
We're just going to pull a single shot, so we're just going to split our shot.
Sure.
If you want to pull me a shot, and
Yeah.
then I'm going to do this with oat milk, just to prove this all to a test. This will be a true test of, can we do this with oat milk? Can we build up enough foam? I might do a little water trick as well.
Yeah. You know what? I haven't tried the water trick. So you just add a little bit of cold water. About how much would you say?
Only a little splash.
That's
so
it.
this is also something I haven't tried, but I did learn it from our friend Emily Bryant, who actually came to visit not long ago. If you haven't seen our videos of doing latte art with world champion,
Oh, yeah.
I highly suggest watching those. She does everything that we're doing, but blindfolded. So needless to say that she's a lot better at teaching this and a lot better at latte art than me. But she does a fantastic job at doing so. All right, so again, I'm gonna kind of do that fingernail below the brim. Supposedly that will work for this pitcher. And then I'm gonna do a little bit of water. So water, I'm just gonna use a BWT pitcher. So it doesn't even need to be too full of water necessarily. And we're gonna put this to the test.
All right, and I'm
All
gonna
right.
get you a single shot.
A single shot, so just up to that one line.
Great. Here we go. I'm not even going to use the timer for this. I'm really just going to be looking by volume this time.
Okay, perfect.
All right.
All right, so we're gonna pre-purge. And we're gonna play with that angle. And you might be questioning, it's like, oh man, it's such a small amount of milk. Well, these big bellies really help with that. So again, we're gonna kind of follow, come to the center, and we're gonna turn on. And you can see it's a small pitcher, so it's very violent. Quite violent. And we're at temperature. Because with oat milk, I almost go until it's like just too hot to touch. Like literally just too hot to touch. With cappuccinos, in most traditional pitchers, you really have to be paying attention to the consistency of those chirps so that a lot of ripping paper the whole entire time. This one, you almost just focus on the vortex and it does all the foam on its own. So I should be able to just pour regularly within this.
Go for it.
And achieve a cappuccino with oat milk. And as we can see already, if I have a nice overhead, I still have a wet paint look to this oat milk. And that is oat milk. I didn't replace it.
That looks really nice.
So I'm still gonna do a high pour, and I'm just gonna do a large heart here to indicate oat. I don't know how that indicates oat, but
Oh, it's a heart.
it's a heart.
Yeah.
So-
really not bad. Oat milk. By the way, oat milk is difficult. If you're wondering, it's
So
I've never
I
been
was
good at
able
oat milk.
to come up with to the CC line. I wasn't able to achieve a traditional cappuccino, but it is oat milk, so I would be okay with more of a contemporary cappuccino
Oh, yeah,
as
absolutely.
this
Yeah.
falls. But with whole milk, you can see that it's pretty easy to actually achieve a real cappuccino.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
All right, so the live test proves that I'm not good enough. But you can achieve still a great texture on oat milk. So if you are having issues at home, even getting this much milk to even make it this far to like something that would be a more modern cappuccino, something like this pitcher will definitely help. I still got that great paint consistency. I still built up a lot of foam. I mean, that's more than a latte still.
Yep.
If we're really considering things. So I would
more than a
suggest-
latte's worth of foam, right?
Correct. Yeah,
Yep.
we would only be kind of skimming the surface for something like a latte in comparison here.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I'd highly suggest those. And then when you start looking into all these different pitchers and you're really not wanting to waste too much over here, I would highly suggest here. You probably want to steam something. right?
Yeah, I was looking forward to steaming something.
Okay,
I poured myself some.
Steam something. We'll switch and I'll talk.
All right, here we go.
I'll ramble.
Are you using the Gotcha Classic GT?
No, go for it.
Yeah? All right, let's go for it.
So there's a couple tips and tricks when you're first starting to get into this, which John and I definitely used when we first got into frothing milk. And that is soap and water. So one of the cool things about surfactants is that surfactants are also found in soap. So when you actually steam up water and a little bit of dish soap, it will look exactly like this milk that John is frothing right now. And if you don't believe me, I'll even prep some myself. So I will not drink. I'll try to remember not to drink. It's going to look delicious.
Yeah.
So all you need with this too is just going to be a little dash of soap. And we're talking like little dash of soap. So don't need too much. And then we're ready to go. So we're also practicing how much water we need, how to froth on your machine. You don't have to be wasting milk or oat milk or anything in order to be frothing and practicing. And then from there, you can pour into different things like soy sauce and whatever you have.
That's a fun challenge. I'll tell you what, I did pour into a bigger pitcher. I'm interested in how this goes. I'm not good with oat milk, so let's see what we got here. I'm gonna work that.
Oh, you also
crema
did oat milk. Wow.
You bet.
You're gonna beat me out.
I don't know, man. I'm just simply not great with oat milk, but we're gonna find out.
Oh, okay. See, we're still able to get something. Oh yeah, look at that.
Yeah, tasty.
Any water in that?
No water in this one.
No water in that.
Yeah.
Okay, but
a little more bubbly than I wanted, but
you are still able to get something, and that is literally just by lowering that temperature. You just went until it was like just too hot to touch, right?
Yeah, you know, I could have actually decreased the temperature a little bit and stopped a little bit sooner.
Yep.
And that might have helped out with some of the texture. I think what helped me utilize the entirety of the cup here was switching over to a bigger pitcher.
Mm-hmm.
I did steam in a small pitcher, and then I poured right into a bigger one.
So
and that
one
really helped
great
out.
thing about using a bigger pitcher and then transferring over is the fact that you actually texture your milk when you do so, and you can fix a lot of different issues by whether you're pouring on the side or high up as well.
Okay.
So you can either keep a lot of your foam or get rid of a lot of your foam that way.
Hmm.
So
No, I'm looking at it, and I could have put a heart on top of that. So, you know, next time.
all the regrets over here, right? All right, so we're going to do this the same exact way before we part ways. So all I have inside here is soap and water.
Cool. Let's see what we get. And then we'll get a cool overhead, see how it looks.
Going to find that sweet spot right away. So this will also, you can screw it up really fast too. So if you can get soap and water really well, that means going over to milk is going to just be super easy for you.
Cool.
And then we're going to slowly turn off. All right.
Let's have a look.
And with that, I have
bad.
perfectly drinkable soap water.
Totally drinkable. That
Well,
actually,
I mean, it does look delicious.
that does look like milk, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So you can practice
can-
pretty well with
yeah,
that if
so,
you
so
don't
you
want
can
to.
watch the way that it falls. As you can see, if you mess up at all, it definitely shows in there. And then you just kind of tap those out. Again, you don't want to do that too much, but this is a way that you can kind of practice and then work your milk. And then from there, you would pour into your soy sauce or what have you. And then you can also practice actually pouring. So kind of like creating a little bit of a canvas, stopping, making sure you're nice and close, pouring in the center, practicing your waves. And this would have been a fantastic layered heart. Look at that fantastic layered
Wow,
heart.
that's some good latte art there, Zach.
All right. And our cup is clean. We're currently doing dishes.
You're doing yeah, you know,
We're
he's
doing the
doing
dishes.
chores. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. I know we went a little over time, but there's so much to learn when it comes to milk frothing. Try not to get frustrated. You will. I got frustrated when first starting out.
Same.
So stick in there and just keep practicing. Practice with your soap. Practice with your soy sauce. Practice with whatever milk that you're using. And whatever machine you have, it will work. I promise.
Don't forget to have fun. I know I like to say that a lot, but you know, part of the process is just having fun with it as well.
Yeah.
And keep it like a game for yourself, and you'll get better every single time you make a drink, and then you get to drink it on top of that. So,
Yep. And with that, thanks for joining me, John.
absolutely, Zach. Thanks for having me. Thanks for teaching me a thing or two.
Oh, I try.
Hey.
And we'll see you next time.
All right. Stay tuned, y'all. Talk to you soon.